Hey guys, how are y'all today? I'm not sure who all's joining me today because I didn't post it until late yesterday. Good to see you, Kay. Good to see you, Cindy and Yvonne and Sue and Robin. I hope you all are doing well. Let me know if my fan is making too much noise and I'll turn it off. But I'm in an upstairs room and it is warm in Tennessee today. Hey, Sandra, good to see you again. Hey, and another Sandra, two Sandras in a row there. That's kind of wild. That never shows up that way for me. Jan from Minnesota and Gemma from, oh, it's hot in the UK today, huh? It is very warm here in Tennessee today. So, give me a second to think on that one, Yvonne. We may, oh, good. You can't hear the fan, Robin. Thanks so much for telling me that because it is a warm day today. And my upstairs air conditioning just can't keep up with it. So y'all get to see the wind blown Cindy today. I've got the upper fan on. I have one light on and one over the top of my scan and cut. So thanks for joining me today. I am going to do something a little different today. I do want to draw your attention. I don't know if you all paid attention today, but Brother did make an announcement about Artspira. We do have some updated features today. And if you do not see those updated features, you will need to update your Artspira app. And since I had a challenge with this, not seeing the update button, I want to show you where you will find that. I mean, I don't have an Android, but I do have an iOS device. So I can show you where you will find it. And I had to do it with both devices this way. They have added some AI features in there, and they've added Disney, the ability to purchase Disney, I can't speak, Disney designs in there. So, and that is for the US. The Disney designs are for the US. The AI is for everybody. But Disney is licensed in the US, not all over all the countries. So let me share that with you first, and then we'll move on to what I've got in store for us today. So let me see here. Let me share a screen. We'll go over here. And now let me pop this up and it went to sleep on me. Hold on. Okay. Here we go. So in your app store, let me get out of here and we'll just go back to the app store. So you're going to tap on the app store and then you're going to search for Artspira. And you'll see Artspira or Brother Artspira or Artspira app. All of those will work. Just pick the one you want to pick. It doesn't matter. And then instead of tapping the word open, tap on the text itself that says Brother Artspira. Once you do that, if you are not in the most current version, instead of seeing the word open here, you will see update. It does not show on this screen here. It only shows open, and that's why I was having a challenge with it. So if you'll touch the word Brother Artspira, you'll see update right there. So that will get you in, and it will update it for you. So that is what I would suggest that you check out, okay? Now, what did they add? Let me open it up, and I'll see if I can show you what they added if it doesn't make me log in again. It's been making me log in and out all day today. So I'm not, I guess it's because they did the update. Oh, crashed and burned. Could be because I have a lot of stuff drawn on my Wi-Fi, but shouldn't be. All right, it's going to be ornery. I just had this open not 10 minutes ago. Play nice with me today. Okay, guys, I'll come back to that. I'm going to shut down my iPad and restart it and see if it's just a memory thing on my iPad. We'll see what happens there. And so while I'm waiting on this to happen, I had a question about artwork when you scan it into the scan and cut and you bring it into Simply Applique, and let's say it's not connected. So I'm going to show an exercise today with that. I'm going to turn off my screen sharing here. If I can find, we'll stop sharing my screen and I'll flip cameras. Y'all have seen me do this before. I'm using a pattern from the whole caboodle. If yours does not appear like mine does, then I highly, highly, highly suggest that you trace around it. So I'm going to show you what I mean when I say that. I'm going to switch to a different camera view here. Okay, so you see my pattern here. This is the entire pattern, and it's got little dashed lines around it. Well, this particular designer, and it's the whole country caboodle, I love her patterns because she does do it to where she separates all of the parts for us, okay? And that's what I want to scan. So if yours is not coming in correctly, it's leaving little bits and pieces, or it's just not closing the lines, you can actually scan it and make it, scan it to Canvas Workspace, and that's what we're going to do. So I've loaded my mat. Y'all saw how I held my hand there to make sure it was going in first, making sure it was through my little grooves here, and then I pressed my load key. Now I'm actually watching a TV so I can see what I'm touching here. We're going to say scan to cut data. Actually, no, we're not. We're going to go to the right-hand corner, and we're going to scan to transfer to Canvas Workspace so we can work on it on a larger screen. It's telling me it knows I have the 12 by 12 in. Actually, if you're using your 12 by 24 inch mat, you can come in here and select the 12 by 24. I'm using my 12 by 12 inch scan mat. And I'll just press the start key. And it's going to scan my pattern, and it's going to save it over to Canvas Workspace for me. Now I'm not using the style. I'm using my iPad stylus instead of my regular stylus. You can use either one. That one was the easiest one I could grab. And it's transferring that data over to my Canvas Workspace account so I can work on it on a larger screen. And so enter the pin code again. Okay, well, oh no, I know what happened. Okay, so I got to get into Artspira. So y'all want to know how this works? Let's see if I can turn it on. Okay, I've traveled since I used the Scan and Cut, which means y'all know that we can only have 4 machines connected on your, and it doesn't matter whether they're 4 sewing machines, 4 embroidery machines, a combination, it doesn't matter. 4 is your limit. So when I travel and I connect somebody else's, then I have to go back in and reconnect it on either Canvas Workspace or in the app. So let's see here if it's going to let me do it in Canvas Workspace. Well, happy birthday, John. Okay, so let's go up here to help, and then let's go to account settings and machine registration. So let's see here. Let me delete this one because that is the one from Brother. Let's go ahead and remove it. It's when I'm in Bartlett, I'm using that one. So, all right. So now register a new machine. So let me go over and read my screen to see what my machine number is. Okay, so let's go up here and let you all see that screen. So I'll make it a little bit bigger, and we'll change cameras. Okay, so let's put them, let's grab that. So that's the number I need to enter into that field, and it's 380141706, oops, 0614. And if you look at my screen here, it automatically adds the dash for me. I do not have to do that. And so I'll go ahead and say, okay, and it'll give me a pin code. My pen code is now ready for me to enter it over there, and it's 1641. So we'll say okay here. Type in my pin code and now say okay. And we'll say okay again. Now we should be connected here in just a sec. All right, so now let's see here. Let's go home. Oops. Scan. Go to the right side, transfer to Canvas Workspace, and say start. So yes, guys, I have the same issues as y'all do sometimes. Now let me log into my Artspira app, see if it's going to let me. You know, they have said, Cindy, that we may get an Artspira possibility on our laptops, but that is not in. I don't know when that's going to happen. I couldn't tell you. I have heard rumors that we might get it, but I don't know. So, oops, let's see here. Continue with password. I'm getting further this time. So, exclamation, sign in. All right. So, it should have transferred to Canvas Workspace. Let me see if it's done over there. And let's just go to my screen. Okay. We're going to go File, Import from our cutting machine, Scanned Image. Oh, did it not say okay? Failed to transfer. You know, when technology works, it's great. When it doesn't, it's not so great. Right now, it's not so great. Play nice in the sandbox here. If this doesn't work, we're going to cry uncle and we'll try this another week because I don't know that I have the patience for it today. I mean, here's the thing, guys. You don't have to use Artspira. You can use it if you want to. It is up to you entirely. There are some features in it that I personally do really like. I love using the drawing tools in there. I find it much more natural for me to draw in there than to draw on my Luminaire because it's in my hand versus on a screen. So I get a better result when I draw in the app. So, I mean, it really just depends on what you want to do. All right, so I do have, okay, it looks like it has done scanning. Let's see if it's going to bring it in. If it doesn't bring it in this time, it does not like me. So we'll see what happens. Aha, there we go. It did like me. Okay, so it has imported that image in. So this is how you would go about that if you want to trace it yourself. Now, if it's not something you want to trace, you can instead go image. So you can hit this leaf image trace and you can do an image scanned by your machine instead. And I would choose trace outer edge only. But notice how my number of colors are messing with me here. So evidently it's really picking up today. So let's see here if we can do trace areas by, let's do enhanced image tracing and see if that likes me better. So none of them. All right. And in this case, this would be what I would do. come in, grab my tracing tool. I would probably trace over that particular piece with a pencil, but if I don't want to deal with that, I can simply grab my drawing tool and trace around each section. And it doesn't take that long. So if you click and drag, you see how I get the little handles coming up? That's how you make a curve. So if you click and drag, you're getting a curve. If you just click it straight, it all depends on how you want to do it, whether you want to add the curves later or if you want to do them while you're drawing. And when I get back to the beginning, you don't want to double click anywhere around here because you will get out of your drawing tool and then you'll have to manually adjust it. So I'm going to come back around, and when I get back to the beginning, it will automatically close itself in as long as I touch on top of it. And honestly, sometimes you'll get better results if you do it yourself, just like I just did. So it's very similar to Design Center, and it's not hard to do at all. So you're going to come in and it's actually very similar to, if you're used to PE Design, it's very similar to PE Design, except for the hold and drag. It actually is very much like, what am I trying to say? Very much like BES. If you draw in BES, it's very similar to that. Now I'm going backwards this time. This is unlike me. I usually draw left to right, top to bottom, and I did a lefty thing today. I don't know why, but I did. I am severely right-handed, so this is a backwards way for me to draw. But you get the concept. And then if you need to fix it, you tap it twice and you can come in and you can adjust the little edit nodes. The circles are the nodes, and the squares, let me zoom in here so you can see. The circles are your edit nodes, and the squares are the adjustment handles. So these are the Bezier adjustment handles, and that shrinks how much that curve is. And then the squares allow you to expand it or shrink it. So depending on what you're trying to do. And you can sit and futz with it. Now, I wouldn't pull that all the way in, and I'll tell you why. The reason why is because if you do, you will get it will not be pretty when it's converted to applique. So once you've got it all adjusted and ready to go, we're going to act like we've done the whole kit and caboodle, guys. I'm not going to fix every piece of this. And I'm not going to draw every piece of it. But then I would save my FCM. And if we look over in our layers window, I have two pieces that are cut files right now. I have these two pieces. I have the head and I have the flower petals. If I want the rest of it, I need to actually trace the rest of it, okay? But then you would save that out as an FCM file. So we would do a save as or export FCM. So save as is going to save it as a Canvas workspace project file, which saves everything together. So I would do that if I was coming back to finish the rest of it. And I'll put in here, we'll put this on my D drive and in Cindy's Facebook Live files. What is this, a hedgehog? And then I'll export it. And the image behind it will not be transferred, just those cutting files. So we'll export that FCM file, and we'll call it hedgehog. Just in case I have another one of these in here somewhere, we'll say hedgehog 2. All right, so now that I've got that, I'm going to go into my Simply Applique. And here it is. So it works the same way for the most part in Simply Applique as it does in BES4. There just aren't as many tools in Simply Applique. Import FCM, And we're going to find the hedgehog and open it up. So there are my two pieces of my hedgehog. And you can convert them separately or together, up to you. Tools, convert, applique. So I did that one separately. Then I can do this one by itself, convert to applique. So if you actually transferred one over here and it didn't close in, all right, let's say I import an FCM file. What have I got in here? Let's say I brought in this chick. And part of my chick wasn't closed. Now, mine is totally closed. That's not a problem. But let's say mine wasn't. And I didn't want to go into Canvas Workspace. I have on my Tools tab here, Line Drawing Tools. And I can simply click and go. The Control key on your keyboard makes a curve. Just left mouse clicking as a straight line. The Control key makes a curve. So if you're trying to close in a shape, and now see how I got to the end, but I didn't do anything, hit the close shape button. Now that is a closed shape. And if you look, there it is. That's the piece that I just drew. We'll change its color to black so you can see it. And that would be ready to go. So let's say this one didn't work, but this one does. So if you converted to applique and you tried to do a blanket stitch and say the blanket stitch is facing the wrong direction or something, if you have a problem with it, you can simply do what I just did, trace over the top of it, okay? Now, you'll notice how if we look at this shape, these are some long applique stitches. If you hit your Edit Shape tool and you add points along here, and then you right mouse click away from it, notice how it adjusts that shape, and now your shape is going to be in a better position to sew. You're not going to have those long stitches. I may add one right down here as well, just so that I can see if I can get rid of that one long one. I can't really, so let's see if we can just make it shorter. Nope. So you're going to have one long stitch there, but that's how you would do it. Okay. It's not rocket science. It is doable. You don't need to go out and buy another piece of software just because your shape is not closing. You just have to take a little time. So it depends on how much time you wish to devote to it versus an automatic button. And I mean, BES does have a trace feature in it to where I wouldn't have to be doing that. But yeah, the slanted long stitches, all you've got to do is adjust those edit nodes. And whenever you adjust an edit node, what you do is you take it. So let's say I adjust that node right there. Right mouse click away from it and the adjustment takes. So if you add a point, always right mouse click away from it. Now, you might want to say, I want that to be smooth, and then adjust those little nodes, and then right mouse click away from it. So it's doable. You just have to think outside of the box, okay? Don't necessarily assume that what you want is going to be there. It's there. You just may have to work at it a little bit differently, okay? And it's not a hard thing to do. All right, so my Artspira app has opened, and I've shown you. Let me see here if I can get that to come back up. I've hidden everything. Why is everything hidden? All right. So I can show you what's new in here. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on this. If you want to go back and watch Amelia, she did a lot of stuff on this today on the Brother Sews channel. I don't want to repeat that. I did want to make sure you knew how to update your device. You'll notice you now have a Disney tab. The last time I was on, I showed you all the education tab. They have added more educational videos since every quarter we add some. So they've added some more educational videos in here. Under Sketch in particular, you probably will see some under sublimation, under cutting, and then Artspira Basics for sure. The Disney designs, they are categorized. You can tap it And if you want to filter by size, touch the filter key and you can choose embroidery frame size and then choose your hoop size. So having said that, if I choose the 4x4, it will bring me anything that's going to fit in a 4x4 hoop. It's not necessarily going to truly, what am I trying to say? Scale it down to only hunting for 5x7 designs. It's going to hunt for everything. And Terry, I saw you saw my answer to yours earlier. Your question that you asked on, where was that? On the Brother Sew's video. Notice that they are listed by the width first, okay? So the 14x7 and 7/8, the 10 needle hoop is the last one on the list. That doesn't mean that our Luminaire hoop's not in there. Your Luminaire hoop is there. It is the 10 and 5/8 by 16. So it goes by width first, not height. So don't get in there and think that your hoop's not in there, because it is. And it looks like they may have added something else already that I am not going to draw attention to. If you go back, you may see it. So anyhow, that allows you to do that. All of these are for purchase. When you tap one and you touch purchase, it will then tell you how much it is. Artspira Plus members get a discounted price. Now, I don't know if that is my discounted price or if after I click purchase, if it changes price. But that is, you get a discounted price if you're an Artspira Plus member, and which I am. Okay. So one thing I will tell you is that Amelia indicated that you could bring in your designs in the design editor with a Disney design. Now, let's see here. Oh, cancel. Hold on. Let me go to my creations and let's see if I have something in here. We'll test that theory out. Come on, wake up. There we go. Here's a paw print. And now let me touch add. Okay. So if I add my design in first, then yes, I can go to the Disney and anything else, but I have to add my creation in first. Otherwise, this does not show up. Okay. My creations don't show up. You'll notice you have non-licensed and you have Disney that will show up. So depending on what you're doing, you do want to add your my creation first. Okay. There we go. So I'm going to cancel that out. Let's see here. And that's really all I want. Oh, AI, the AI stuff. So here's your AI. And depending on what you're doing, depends on what you'll get. So each of these has an icon that tells you what it will create. The black and white will create embroidery, a scan and cut, and a print file. The silhouette will do the same thing. Pop will do embroidery and printing. Simple will do embroidery and printing. Crayon is printing only. Watercolor is printing only, and manga is printing only. So depending on what you want to do, and I would say just look for a picture. I haven't tried this with any of my photos because I just got access to this today. Let's say this one, this is one that brother has rights to use. So we'll go ahead and do that one. Yeah, you never know what you're going to get with this. It is entertaining to see. So, I mean, it just depends on what it's in the mood to give you. I think some of them can give you some very bizarre results. Some of them, it just depends. It's something fun to play with, and it's going to take it a minute to process. So, Kim, I'll answer your question in just a second. So, there's what I got. All right, so from that, I could create embroidery data, I can create cutting data, or I can create printing data. Those are my options, but that gives you an idea of what you get, okay? So if we wanted to create embroidery data from that, we would then tell it what size hoop we want to use and say done. And there it goes. Well, I didn't know it was going to take, well, it doesn't take that long. That's pretty good. So there we go. All right. So you just say done, and then you can add your text to it if you want to. All right, I'm going to cancel that one out and discard. So what was the question? All right. That's all I really wanted to show you. If you guys go back and watch the Brother Sews live today, you'll see what all they shared. Oh, I do. Somebody asked, would I show how to update again? All right. I am on an Apple device. So I would come up here into my app store. I'm in the app store. And if you don't know what the app store looks like, hold on. Here we go. Let me do that one more time so you can see it. It looks like this little guy right here. So I'm going to tap him. And then I'll type in Art Spira. And pop it up. Tap the word Brother Art Spira right here. Otherwise, if you just tap open, you will not get update. Update will come right here once you've gotten in there. If you've already updated, you will see open. If you haven't updated, you will see the word update. Okay. That's how you get it updated. All right. Let me get out of that. And we'll close this window out. Okay. So Kim asked how I would send back that file. So that's an excellent question. So let me come in here and delete what I fixed. If I can find my mouse. If I go back in, let me change this to the color orange and let's convert it to applique. And then let's convert our wing. And you can see that one looks crazy. So we'll work on that one just a little bit to make it work a little bit better. Okay. Oh, I didn't want to do motif. I wanted to do blanket. But motifs are fun. You could do motifs if you wanted. I'm going to come and grab this shape, edit my shape tool, and add a couple of points. And then let's right mouse click and see what we get. Let's maybe add a few more. Right mouse click. There we go. So that one looks pretty good now. I would probably move it right there. You cannot remove overlapped stitches with blanket stitches. And the reason being is because they're seen as running stitches, so they're not going to be removed. If you do not want that there, if you do not want to see those blanket stitches underneath it, it's not going to be that big of a deal. But if you don't want to, you can come in and hit your edit. Let's see if I can do it here. Nope, can't do it in Simply Applique. That's a BES4 thing. So in Simply Applique, you kind of have to live with what you get there. Just the lay of the land, gang. Sorry about that. So what I would do is I would make sure that my beak is over the top of those stitches to where it would be hidden underneath it. All right. If I'm sending it back to my scan and cut because I want to make sure it's the correct size based on what I have changed, I would then hit the scan and cut button at the top and then separate my pieces. And then you can save that FCM file. So you go up to your application key and you choose export FCM, okay? Or SVG, either one, but you would export the FCM file and then take that to your USB drive. You can save it onto your USB drive actually, and then take it directly to the machine. If you don't want to transfer it that way, let's do Chick 3. All right, so we'll do Chick 3. If you don't want to transfer it via USB, you do not have to. You can always go in and open up. Let's go in here and import our FCM file, which would be Chick 3, right? The SVG file will bring in either an SVG or an FCM file. There's my file, export transfer, and then you can transfer that to your scan and cut right there via the internet. All right, so now it's over there ready for me to bring it in. Now, something that you might want to keep in mind before converting that artwork, let's see, let's look at this. There is an inset percentage, okay, right here. It doesn't work on a blanket stitch, but if you are doing a satin stitch, you will see inset percentage. I got to remember which direction. I will usually take that to 80%, I believe. Yes. Because then it will go, my placement stitch and my tack down stitch will go to the outside edge. I may change my tack down stitch to a -1 so that it will get caught. Okay. And then after you've done that, press your scan and cut key, because that will then base it off of that inset percentage that we just did here. So that inset percentage will make sure that it gets caught. If both lines are going down the center, if I change this back to 50%, when both lines are in the center, let's put this back at what the default. Those are both in the center, okay? That is if you're cutting manually. So if you are not cutting manually, I highly suggest just changing that to 80%, changing this to a -1, and then you do not have to worry, is it going to get caught, okay? It will get caught. You will be fine. And then you don't have to, what am I trying to say? Then you don't have to add an offset when you get over there. You don't have to resize anything. Everything's the correct size. Okay. Now, let's see here. Kay, BES Blue does not have a knockdown stitch. And I don't know what Essentials is. Are you talking about in Brilliance? If so, I don't represent in Brilliance, so I don't use that software to be able to answer that question strategic or intelligently. Okay. So if it's in Brilliance, I would suggest you reach out to Lisa Shaw and she'll be able to answer your question. But let me see if there's a workaround maybe that you could do in BES Blue. So let's pull up Blue. Nap control is unique to Power Pack 1 in BES 4. So we don't truly have that here in BES Blue. But let's see if there's something we could do that might work. No, you don't have those tools. Okay, let's try something here, guys. Let's grab that part right there and let's copy it and paste it. And we'll change its color to gold and we'll make it bigger. Oops. So it's not going to truly be the exact outside of it, but we'll try it. No, I don't have decorative fills. No, I can't. There's no trick in this one. I could trick it if we were in BES 4, but I can't trick it here. You just don't have those same options. Let me see here. So let's see if we could do tools and draw around it. Not perfect, but you get the idea, and we're going to close that shape. So now, no. Let's see here. Okay, I have an idea. We're going to change this color to orange. This is a big workaround, though. I'm sitting here telling you. So I've changed it to orange, and then I'm going to adjust the shape. So we'll go Tools, Edit Shape. I've got to do it one side at a time here. So we'll edit that shape and just make it bigger. This is a big, big workaround, though. And all I'm doing is moving these edit nodes to where it basically goes around my butterfly. So I copied that one section. Oh, that's a hole. Let's delete a few points. Oops. I'm gonna add one right there. And we're just seeing if this will work. I mean, I'm trying to work with you here to see what we can make happen. And you can finesse this all you want. I'm not going to make it perfect here. All right, there we go. Now, let's see here. If we change that from, let's make it a satin. Actually, let's make it a fill, just a regular fill. Random's fine. We're going to take out the undersewing. Actually, we can't because we're in BES blue. All right, wait a minute. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Now, let's see. You could come in and you could change your density to like 2. Let's see what 2 does. So you'll notice how 2 takes that density way, way down. And then take that and slide it up to the beginning. So it's not an automatic button like we have in BES4, but it is doable. Okay. It would not be my first preference is where to go. I mean, there are reasons I have multiple software programs, and it's because many of them can do something that something else can't. Okay. Yeah, Beverly, that's fine. Because I don't pay attention. But yeah, what I just did would work. Okay. It's because it's going to go both ways. It kept the underlay. It's going to give you both ways. If you wanted a little bit more dense, you could certainly change the density. And instead of taking it all the way up to 2, you could go to 1.5 instead. The higher the number, the less dense it is in the BES programs. In P design, that is the opposite direction. Okay. All right. So what that does is a knockdown stitch, or a nap control, as we call it in BES4, allows if you've got fluffy towels, or if you've got something with a lot of nap on it, towels, sweats, anything like that, a baby blanket, anything like that, you don't necessarily want all those fuzzies peeking through your embroidery. So a knockdown stitch, or nap control, as we call it in BES, is optimal because it holds that nap down after your embroidery's finished, and it keeps it from poking through. I mean, you can put a topper on things, but the first time you wash it, it's generally going to poke through. Nap control keeps that from happening. Okay. Now, go back and watch that. You can refine it all you want. You can make it much better than what I just did, but that would work. Find a piece that has a large segment that you can copy that is already a fill stitch. It does need to be a fill stitch already. That is the key. So add a design to your page, or take the design that you're working on. So I just picked a part of the wing here and used it. If you don't want to do that, you can look at add design and see if there's something that has a huge area in it that's a solid. So maybe instead of doing that, I use the basketball. Let's see what the basketball looks like. Oh yeah, the basketball has an easier spot. So I would get rid of these 2 pieces. and I would get rid of my running stitches. And then I would take this over here and go to my tools tab, edit my shape tab, and then just come in and grab it and move it around it. And that would be your easiest route to go. The basketball is a super easy shape, and you can sit there and futz with it all you want. And then once again, change that density down to like 2. And if you look, there's my, that's what I've got right there. Okay. So that one's a good one. All right. Now let's see here. What else was, I saw another question, and how am I doing on time? I'm doing pretty good. Okay. A plaid stitch that uses only one thread color, considering using variegated thread. I don't know, Yvonne. Let's go look and see what we can play with. Hold on. Let me find my PE design. Okay. Yeah, that's more of a weave. That's not what you want. So yeah, probably a motif stitch. Let's see here. Let's go up to option, programmable stitch creator. I don't know why my tabs are not showing at the bottom of my screen here, but they're not. So let's go up here and choose new motif pattern. And let's think this one through. Let's turn on a grid. Actually, I'm going to take this down a little bit further so I can see what I'm doing. I honestly had never thought about this one, so I'm thinking off the cuff. And I think I would do something. Actually, I may actually have a better way. Hold on. Before I sit here and get invested in this, let's come into our motif stitches and see what we've got. We have a line in here somewhere. Now, let's put those closer together. And let's use pattern 1 and 2. And then let's come in with this. Oops, wrong one. I'm thinking outside of the box here. You're getting to see the way my brain works. Sometimes it works well, sometimes not so well. Oh, I like that line better. But you could then rotate that one 90 degrees. Why is that one not? You're going to make me do both of them the same way? All right, that's not what I want to do. Okay, so no, I think I want to go back to the other way. Let's go back to programmable stitch creator. If I can find my mouse. All right, so now I'm going to take this and go up. I have no idea if this is going to work or not, but we're going to try. Right? It's all about experimentation. Wrong one. And I would make sure that these are even. I am not doing that right now. I'm just simply seeing if this technique might possibly work. It's just a thought. All right, let's save that one. And we're going to say plaid test. And we're going to go in and put them in our Windows decorative fills. So the ones in the program files x86, brother, PE design 11, pattern. Okay, so now let me minimize that and let's come right here. Pattern 1, and it should be P, plaid test. Let's see what happens there. Oh, all right, we're going to go back to pattern 1 only. And that might work. I mean, you could take them further apart. You could make it bigger. I might space my plaids, my rows a little bit further apart, but that would probably work. Okay. You might make it wider than it is tall. I mean, you've got options to play along with it. You can change your horizontal and vertical spacing. There's a lot of stuff you can play with on that one to make it work the way you want it to work. But that's a possibility. What else would be a possibility? Your net fill is a possibility. It would not be my first choice. But I mean, you could increase your spacing on one and then copy and paste and do that. But you can't really get it not even, I guess. I mean, you can't do something that's more random. Okay, I'm going to come back and answer questions and see where we're at. If you have P design, you have the capability of doing nap control there very easily, Kim. So, I mean, that one's a super easy way to do. I've done that before. I'll show you that in just a second. Okay, so let me see here. Kim, nap control in P design. So this is how I would do it in P design. We're just going to bring in a pattern from somewhere. It doesn't matter. Bring a pattern in anywhere. Do your embroidered patch wizard. Turn off the satin stitch and take the distance however far away you want that nap control to extend, and click OK. It will give you a single line. Ungroup it. Come and grab that line and select it, and then change that to a net fill stitch. Go into your sewing attributes. Let me change the metric here. Change that down to 2 millimeters and put on the third choice, and then have that sew first. So you can actually just click it and say sew first. And that's your nap control there. That is super easy. Cindy, which program are you wanting grid settings on? Which program? BES, Simply Applique, P Design. What are we talking about? I'm waiting for, I'll give you just a second to get that one done. And then this is the last thing I'm going to do today. BES 4. Okay. So in BES 4, there we go. On your view tab, go to the preferences window and then go to grid. And this is where you can set it up. So if you want to set up your horizontal and vertical lines at 1/4 of an inch, you can put in 0.25 by 0.25. Depending on where you want, not 2.57, but 0.25. If you want, so that's that's 1/4 of an inch. You're going to have a minor grid line. So every 8 would be 2 inches, right? Or I could put every 4 would be a major grid line. You get to choose. You can show your grid as dashed lines or as solid lines. I usually like mine as solid, or you can show them as dots. Click OK. And then when you turn your grid on, that's what you get. So in my box here, basically every blue line is an inch. And that would make it easier for me to know. If I don't want it every inch, I can come in here and say, all right, let's go back to grid. I can say, show my grid lines as dashed lines instead. That's actually what I tend to use. But I know that every eight lines, basically every major line is an inch. So that gives me that easy reference there. Okay. So what, if you look at your preferences on one, and then you can go match that to what you've got on the other. Okay. And you can choose your color that you want. I'm fine with mine being purple and with the others being gray. That's up to you. That's personal preference. Okay. All right, guys, that is all I have for you this week. I will not be on next week. I am in a meeting all next week, so I will not see you next week. Y'all have a great rest of your week, and thanks for joining me today. Talk to you later. Bye. Oh, shoot. I forgot. One last thing. Coupon code. So my birthday is going to be while I'm gone, basically. So here you go. 15% off BD. It's a big birthday for me this year. So I'll give you 15% off of any decorative fill collection. That is your coupon code. So y'all have a great rest of your week, and I will see you in 2 weeks. Bye-bye.